Hi, I'm Jan Mirchandani from Marketing Cafe, and welcome to this third session of our Summer Lunchbox series of online marketing webinars. Today I want to talk about content development. Now you may look at content development kind of the way you look at oral surgery, as in, I don't think so, but it doesn't have to be that way. We're going to talk about what content development is and how you can do it in a way that makes it a little bit more fun than root canal. So let's get started. The term content development is in very real danger of becoming roadkill on the buzzword superhighway. We don't want that to happen because there really is some substance behind the term. Content development is really a strategy of creating content for your website, your social media channels, your email marketing campaigns, etc. The content that we're talking about is an article or perhaps a video. Perhaps it's a podcast that you've recorded, photos that you might want to share. Anything that you're adding via these channels is content. The development is obviously referring to some sort of way of cultivating any or all of these different types of content. So the idea is that you want to create a strategy for developing content to sustain over time. Let's look at that in more detail. You may have heard the expression content is king. Here's why. Your content on your website and your social media channels is like a veritable buffet. It's what the search engines are consuming. It's what your human readers are consuming when they come to your website. If the search engines come and they don't see any fresh content, they're going to assume correctly that your website is stale and out of date. They're going to move on to greener pastures, and your search engine ranking is going to dip. Your human visitors come and they see only static content. They're going to assume you have nothing new to say, and they're not going to come back. They have no reason to. And if they're not coming back to your website, you have really limited opportunities for furthering the conversation and ultimately closing the sale. And that is why content is king. You may be thinking to yourself, yeah, I'm looking for more work like I'm looking to have elective root canal done. But it doesn't have to be that way. With a little bit of planning and some strategy, you can considerably lighten the load and spread it around a little bit. The important thing to realize here is that this is a long-term approach. This isn't something that you're going to consider finished, but really approach as part of your overall ongoing marketing efforts. Let's take a look at some strategies. Probably the best place to get started is by creating an editorial calendar. An editorial calendar creates a framework for you to schedule and plan for content development for your website and your social media and other channels. You're going to start by taking a look at your typical business cycle. More than likely, you've got fairly predictable patterns. You know when you're busy, you know when you're less busy. You know when you run campaigns, you know when you have specials. Once you have these activities sort of timed out on your calendar, you know that you can weave in new content to your website and your social media channels around these existing efforts. It saves a lot of time and a lot of energy and helps to avoid what I call the blank page syndrome, where you're staring at that monitor, you know you need to write something, and you just have no idea where to start. Start with what you're already doing. And the idea is if you create 3 to 6 months of a rolling calendar, you always have topics around which you can write and get yourself started. So now that you've got the skeleton of your editorial calendar, we're going to put some meat on those bones. Here's a really easy way to do that. You can take what you've already created and repurpose it. Recycling doesn't have to just be about saving the planet. It can be about saving you a ton of time. Perhaps you have old newsletters. Perhaps you have a brochure that you slaved over and perhaps paid good money to have it copywritten. Maybe you have a staff member who was highlighted in the newspaper. Maybe you have somebody who was interviewed on the radio. Any or all of these can be reused, broken down into one or multiple articles that you can then post and share again. They may need some updating, and that's fine. Brush off the dust and reuse them. By breaking down what you already have and dropping the content into your website over time, you can really avoid recreating the wheel, which is going to be a huge advantage to you. Here's a tip so obvious it actually gets overlooked quite a bit. Answer the questions that you get asked the most frequently from prospects and new clients. You probably have 5 to 10 articles right off the top of your head. Information that to you is so obvious you don't even think about it anymore. It's like breathing. But your clients don't have that information, and prospects certainly don't have that information. And to you it might not seem article worthy because you know it so well. But if you can answer the questions that your prospects and your clients have before they even ask, you're creating a real service. You're doing a real service for them. So go ahead and write those really easy articles and answer those questions. Here's a tip directly from Tom Sawyer. Have somebody else write the article for you. But it's all good. The idea is that you want to invite somebody who has information related to what you do, but outside of your area of expertise, to share their expertise with your audience. So say for example you own a wine shop. You could invite an event planner to write an article about how to host a cocktail party or a wine tasting event. They're sharing information that's useful to your readers, but that's outside of your area of expertise. You can thank the author by creating a link to their website and providing a short bio for them. So your readers are getting additional information that is useful for them. Your guest blogger is getting more traffic to their website. They're getting exposed to readers that they might not otherwise come across. And you're getting off the hook. You don't have to write that article. You can also do a little bit of a different spin on this by spreading the love into different departments. Rather than relying only on your marketing department to create content, maybe you want to have one of your service people write an article about how to make the most of your product or service, so that you're spreading out the labor with the idea of many hands make light work. A similar tip is to simply react to something that you've read by somebody else. Perhaps you've come across an article or a video from another author. You can react to it, share your own insights. You can agree, you can disagree, you can rant a little if you want to. In fact, some of my favorite articles that I've written were a little bit of a rant about something that I came across. And the advice given to me was, when you feel that kind of passion, there's something behind it. So leverage that. You don't necessarily want to let the crazy out on the page, but if you can temper that and you can explain why you feel the way you feel, then you're creating useful information for your readers. Reference the original source, add your own spin on it, add your own reaction to it, and again, you're not recreating the wheel. One of the things that people still kind of struggle with when they create content for their website is finding their voice. Finding your voice is one of these things, it's kind of a squishy target where you don't really get it until you get it. Finding your voice is a little bit like hitting your stride when you're running. It's when you're most comfortable. You're still working, but you're not struggling. And the best way to find this comfort zone is by being genuine, letting your personality shine. You want to write as if you are talking to a friend or an associate. You want to keep it professional, but be yourself. It's going to take a little bit of practice, and it may take some time until you get to a place where you are very comfortable, but consistency is going to be the key. And the reward is that the content isn't as difficult to write. It's not a constant struggle to create something. And your readers are going to be more engaged. They're going to see that transparency, and they're going to feel more of a connection. Most of your content development is really going to focus on your website as the foundation of your online marketing, but certainly you can't ignore social media. But here's the good news. I hereby let you off the hook. You do not need to engage in every social media channel that's been invented out there around the planet. And now that you've saved all of that time from all of those channels that you don't need to focus on, you can really focus on picking the channels that make the most sense for you and your target audience. It makes more sense to focus on a few channels that you do really, really well than trying to be all things to all people. It doesn't make sense for your business. It doesn't make sense for your marketing. And while you are looking at those channels, you can take a look at the content that you're creating for your website, share those via your social media channels. You can integrate so that you have custom posts for specific channels that then integrate with your website, and have it all meshed together very, very nicely. So let's review how you can create a content development strategy for your business. Start by creating an editorial calendar around campaigns and initiatives that you're already engaging in throughout your typical business cycle. Fill in some of the holes by reusing content that you've already created. Answer frequently asked questions, the questions that you get from prospects and new clients. Invite others to contribute as guest bloggers. React to the news of the day and share your own insights and reactions to what you read. Be real and be transparent in the tone and tenor of what you're presenting, and be consistent over time. By using these techniques, content development doesn't have to be worse than root canal. It can be a lot better than root canal, so have some fun with it. I hope you found this information useful, and as always, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call at 914-806-7720 or visit our website at westchestermarketingcafe.com. Enjoy the rest of your day.